Hi guys, welcome IGTV. Today's purpose of the video is to talk about the actual money breakdown of hosting a live event. Now, we're going to talk about two different kinds of experiences. So, some coaches that want to host a retreat tend to look at Airbnb, and there's pluses and minuses about Airbnb, but I am going to break down some of the numbers. The other experience I'm going to break down is utilizing a resort. And a resort will be like a hotel with spas and meeting room rentals and like the whole shebang there. So, two very different experiences, two slightly different time commitments and things like that. But I just want to break down the numbers of two places that you can host an event, like a retreat, and about how much that's going to cost you for each experience. And I have it side by side. So let's just jump in. I am going from numbers that I have recently received. So I am planning an art and mindfulness retreat with my partner, Kim. She's Creole Creatives. I think I said that right. Creole Creative Canvases, I think is her IG handle if you want to go check her out. She is most notably known for sip and paints, but she also does other things like that. So we are partnering together to offer an art and meditation retreat. So I'm actually going to show you like similar numbers to what I just received for a resort experience, and then also what I put together for an Airbnb experience. So the first part of this I want to talk about are the accommodations, and it's going to be one of the biggest differences. So with an Airbnb, you are limited on the amount of people that you can have because you're limited on the amount of beds the home offers. You never want to stick anybody on a couch, and you definitely never want to put an air mattress out or anything like that. So with an Airbnb, you have to be very mindful that there's enough beds and one person per bed, because sometimes Airbnb says it sleeps 20, but there's only 8 beds, and you're like, that math does not work. So you have to be very mindful. But for an Airbnb that I was looking at, the cost to have 15 paid tickets, 15 paid attendees, so it sleeps 17 or more, was about $3,712. This is for a 3-night stay, 3 nights rented out. And that's consistent on both. I guess I should have started with that. For a resort, the resort and spa experience, for the accommodations for that many people, the cheapest way we could cut it, $14,095.80. So that is a giant $11,000 difference. Just right there between the two. It all works out in the end, but just be mindful. So a difference between the two ways of payment though is Airbnb usually requests at least half up front for the larger, more expensive properties. That is also like a rule of the Airbnb host. They can ask for it all up front, or they can ask for it half now, half later. For the resort, they might ask for something like a deposit or something, but in general, most of these expenses are going to be due either upon arrival or upon completion of the event. It's called settling the master account. Okay, so the next expense that I have down here is a chef. So one of the things that we talked about is as an experience is having a chef come in and teach us how to prepare a dinner. So like a cooking class. So to have that at the Airbnb, that's going to cost about $3,000, and that does include the food and the experience. To have that same experience at the resort, it's going to cost about $2,550. So pretty similar in price. Another experience that we're having is a yoga instructor for 2 different days. So we've put that as a flat rate at $300 a piece. So that's very consistent. Another thing that kind of varies pretty substantially would be the food. And for this food itemization, I am just quoting breakfast and lunch. So at the Airbnb, it would be like the host and myself preparing breakfast, setting breakfast out, that kind of thing. For lunch, it would be the same. At the resort, the breakfast would be in a a room rental off to our side, it would probably be, I think, a buffet technically. With COVID, there are certain protocols you have to follow with buffets, but that's kind of how the breakfast and lunch was broken out. So for the Airbnb breakfast and lunch, it's about $500. For the resort, it's about $1,359. So the next expense I have is for wine and beer. Now, so this is a controversial one that some people, not everyone, like, wants to have wine and beer at their event. I argue, hey Nancy, I argue that you should have it because it kind of lightens the mood. And if you're at an Airbnb or at a resort, you can definitely, have a cutoff point to where you control how much consumption happens. Because a lot of people are like worried that people are going to get hammered and then they're going to be hungover the next day and yada yada. And they don't want to have to take care of drunk people either. So, when the cat's away, the mice will play type of thing. And there's a way to control that, so that shouldn't necessarily be a concern anymore. But for the Airbnb experience, I have about $100 because, like, you can go to Costco and get some pretty cheap. Hey, Leslie! You can like make this super affordable for mimosas and then some bottles of wine at dinner. For the resort though, to have a reception and you have to have bartenders and things like that, that's $2,380. So also another big difference between the cost between an Airbnb and a resort can be the room rental. So at a resort or a hotel, you generally have to pay to rent a room, and that's where you're going to have like your journaling, your art classes, your yoga, your meditation, and it's a general room that people just meet at. At the Airbnb, that could be considered the lawn, the living room, the basement room that's big enough. Like, it's just kind of all built in. So for Airbnb, I just have it at $0 because we would just use the property itself. But for the resort, that's $6,200. We're going to break it down to the actual subtotal amount, which I did not write down. So we're going to, it's going to be roughly, oh crap, I didn't write it down. The best laid plans. Anyway, so we're going to truck on. So I've also added a contingency. Contingency is great because some things or some costs are very unexpected. You might have forgotten something. Maybe you budgeted incorrectly for an expense, or like some fluke happens and you have to pay extra shipping. All that kind of stuff like is melded into contingency. And I always suggest 15% of the overall cost. So for the Airbnb experience, 15% is roughly $1,794. For the resort, a contingency would be $4,650. I added in my planner fee, which is $7,000 for each experience, which is very consistent across the board. So each experience total cost for Airbnb is $20,757. And for a resort would be $42,643. Now that is a difference in $21,886.57. I even went down to the change all. So I want to pause here and just kind of talk about that difference and why it should or should not matter. Now, to most people, forking out $10,000 or $20,000, forking out $20,000 or $42,000 is almost gut-wrenching. Like, that's a lot of fucking money. That is almost the amount of money like that most people, like the average salary in America is. So the median household income. So it's a lot of fucking money. And that's okay. I want you to know that not all of this is due up front. I want you to know that you only have to have a portion of it up front, and then the rest of it will be covered with ticket sales. Swallowing the pill of $20,000 or $42,000 is very hard and extremely scary for most people, and I completely understand why. I get it. It's a lot. But let's truck on. So the cost per paid ticket, remember we're having 15 people, so for the Airbnb is $1,384. So when you look at the giant price tag and then you say $1,384, can I do that? Yeah, you can do that. You can easily do that. You know and see a ton of people charging way more than that for their experienced retreat. Like way more. So that's pretty good. You know that you can sell that. For the resort, my phone keeps going dark. Sorry. For the resort, that's $2,843 per paid ticket is to cover the cost. The retreat's ticket price for the Airbnb experience at $1,997. So remember, coaches, if you're starting out, then this is a high touch point experience. This is something that your people are going to have access to you for 3 days. Your experience is completely covered by the cost. I built that in for my cost to be there on site and for your cost to be there. And that if you are already selling a coaching program that is close to this amount, you can definitely sell a ticket at that amount. So overall, the profit per paid ticket, is $613.19. That rounds out the retreat host total ticket profit at $9,197.85. So almost 10 grand for a weekend. That's pretty dang good. I mean, you're going to have to spend some time marketing. But if you hire me, a retreat planner, my cost is $7,000. But for me to take over and plan the entire retreat, you're still going to make $9,100 to show up and have a fun girls' weekend. So let's hop over to the resort. So remember, the cost per paid ticket is $2,843. To be able to make some sort of money on top of this, right, you're going to have to charge more. And so I have this experience priced out at $3,297. You could probably go up to $3,400, but I kept it at about $4,000 to $5,000 above the cost per ticket. So the profit here is $448, and then the total profit is $6,721. So overall, the total profit difference is only $2,476, but the cost difference between the two experiences is $21,886. So why does that matter? You can see right now that you can charge more for a higher, more luxurious experience. A spa or resort is going to offer that high class, high luxury experience, and you can charge a higher ticket price for that. You can actually negotiate reduced spa rates, or you can include a spa experience in this package. All of your catering and all of the food, like, you don't have to worry about any of that like you would with the Airbnb and like having to put out breakfast and put out lunch. You wouldn't necessarily have to worry about as much put up and set up like of the tables and things like that as you would with the Airbnb, because the resort people are going to do that for you. You're going to have to set up like the art easels and the art projects, but the actual physical tables and linens and things like that are all included. Another big difference between the Airbnb and resort is pretty much the way things are. You have to pay for things. At the resort, you kind of just show up with all your boxes. You can have your boxes shipped to the resort. So like, you literally just have to ship your body there, and everything's taken care of for you. You're going to have dedicated rooms. You're going to have dedicated registration place. You're going to have dedicated storage for all these things, and you're going to have a catering service that's going to set up and break down all of the food. The menus are going to be planned in advance. You don't have to worry about any of that. So it's like it's a peace of mind that says that the rooms are going to be gorgeous, the property is going to be gorgeous, the experience is going to be gorgeous, and it's a high ticket experience. But if you're not a high ticket coach and you're not charging, 10 grand or 7 grand for your services, it's going to be really hard for your $2,000 service to be able to charge what you need to charge to make money on this. But with the Airbnb, I know I went on about resorts, but with the Airbnb, you're going to have a more rustic, a more authentic, less luxurious. Don't get me wrong, Airbnbs are still luxurious. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is it's going to be a little bit more bootstrapped together, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make tables beautiful. I'm here to set things up. I'm here to tear things down. It's just a different level of intensity and hands-on with an Airbnb than it would be with a resort. So I know that was very numbers forward and that was a lot to digest, but the overall takeaway needs to be that either experience is okay. But you need to choose the experience that's right for your client and right for your business. But both experiences can be very profitable. And I mean, this is for a US American Airbnb and resort. Some of these expenses will definitely go down if you go international. So like to Costa Rica, Mexico, etc., the resort costs will go down. And that's really important key takeaway, because like you can make more money on the same ticket price. And it would be more comparable to the Airbnb price tag with the resort experience. So if this was helpful, definitely give me a thumbs up. If you're watching on the replay, let me know. Stay tuned and I will chat at you later. Bye guys.